Dear students, welcome back. So in the previous session we have seen diaphragm, which is an important muscle in primary ventilation, and now the next important muscles in the primary ventilation are intercostal muscles. So the intercostal muscles means what? So the muscles present in between the costae, that means in between the ribs, these muscles are present, called as intercostal muscles. The intercostal muscles connect adjacent ribs and termed as internal as well as the external intercostalis depending upon their anatomic orientation. Okay. So both sets of intercostal muscles attached to the lower margins of the first 11 ribs and also costal cartilages. Okay, so all these muscles are getting attached to the lower margins of the first 11 ribs and the costal cartilages, and upper margins of ribs and cartilages below. So this one is the lower margins of the upper ribs, and these are the upper margins of the lower ribs. Now we will see from where to where these muscles are getting attached and what is its anatomic orientation. Okay, the internal intercostal muscles lie deep to the external intercostal muscles. This is the external intercostal muscle and this one is the internal intercostal muscles. So now we will see the internal intercostalis. This internal intercostalis muscle lie deep to the external intercostalis with fibers that run downwards and posteriorly. Downwards and posteriorly. You can see the fibers. The fibers are running downwards and it will move posteriorly. Okay. So this is the fibers of internal intercostalis running, and the most superficial external intercostalis fibers run downwards and anteriorly. So these two fibers are obliquely oriented. If you see the external intercostalis fibers, how these fibers are moving or running means you can see hand in pocket pattern. So మీరు జేబులో చేయి వేస్తే how the hand will move, hand in pocket. In that way, the external intercostalis fibers are oriented. Whereas this internal intercostalis is running quite opposite to the external intercostalis. That means these will run downward and posteriorly, and this external intercostalis downward anteriorly. Okay, these two fibers are obliquely angled to each other. Next, so from where to where, now we will see this origin of internal intercostalis as well as the external intercostalis. The internal intercostalis arises from a ridge on the inner surfaces of ribs 1 to 11 and insert into the superior border of the rib below. So arises from a ridge on the inner surfaces of the ribs from 1st to 11th and insert into the superior border of the rib below. So you can see here. So So this is up to here only we can see the internal intercostal muscles. So these fibers are arising from the lower margins of the upper rib, and it is getting inserted on the upper margins of the rib below. Like that, all internal intercostalis muscles are getting originated. Okay. Now these fibers extend. These fibers, the internal intercostalis muscle fibers, extend from sternocostal junctions. This is called sternocostal junctions posteriorly to the angles of ribs. This is the angle of rib, posterior to the angle of ribs, and then it form an aponeurotic layer called posterior intercostal membrane. So finally it end up as posterior intercostal membrane. So posterior internal intercostal membrane. So these fibers are running downwards and posteriorly. It will move like this posteriorly also. So finally it end up into, every muscle is going to end up into a tendon, but this intercostal muscles are going to end up with an aponeurotic layer called as internal intercostal membrane. Okay, so it is getting inserted like that here on the posterior aspect, where exactly at the angles of ribs. Okay, now coming to the external intercostalis. So these muscles extend from the tubercles of the ribs. You know the tubercles in a rib. So tubercles of the ribs, and extend from the tubercle of the ribs anteriorly. Anteriorly, these fibers are coming like this up to the costochondral junctions. So up to the costochondral junction, where they form an external intercostal membrane. Here it is getting inserted up to here. So whereas this one, intercostalis muscles, extends from the sternochondral junctions to the angle of ribs, whereas the external intercostalis extends from the tubercles of the ribs to the costochondral junctions. Okay, and the muscles which are by the side of the sternum, so by the side of the sternum, that is called పక్కనే ఉన్నదాన్ని ఏమంటారు, పారా అంటారు. సో by the side of the sternum, this is called as parasternal portions of internal intercostalis. So these fibers are present by the side of the sternum. These are called as parasternal portion of internal intercostal. So these parasternal muscles play a very important role in the quiet respiration. So parasternal intercostalis have a main role in respiration than the remaining fibers which are present around the rib cage. So this part will have major function in respiration than the remaining part of the muscle. Okay, so we can call it as the interchondral part of the internal intercostalis, or referred to as parasternal muscles. Okay, and if you see this thing, so up to here only this muscle is getting external intercostalis is ending up, but as posteriorly also the same way this internal intercostalis will end up as internal intercostal membrane. So if you observe that the intercostal spaces therefore have only one muscle layer anteriorly. So one muscle layer anteriorly and posteriorly. Anteriorly will have this parasternal portion of the intercostalis. Posteriorly we will have the external intercostalis muscle. So at the lateral aspect, the two layers, the muscle fiber orientation of the two muscles, the internal and external intercostalis, lie approximately at right angles to each other on the lateral side. So this lateral side, okay, with two layers which are present laterally are referred as interosseous or lateral intercostalis. So at this part, both external as well as internal costal muscles are present. Okay, so these are called as lateral intercostalis. So these muscles at the lateral side have less effect in respiration. It has a major effect in trunk rotators and the flexion, side flexion. It takes place a very important role in that movements, not in respiration. Okay, so this is about the internal intercostalis and external intercostalis. Now another muscle we can see here is the subcostalis muscle. This subcostalis muscle is also having an important function in quiet inspiration, which are present on the posterior aspect of the rib cage, but it is present on the anterior aspect of the posterior part of the rib cages. Okay, and this is also originating from the upper rib, but it is having insertion one rib below the origin. For example, if it is getting originating from the second rib, so here this is the second rib, for example, originating, so the insertion is at the fourth rib. And this subcostalis is also having the same type of function as the intercostal muscles. Okay, so here you have to understand the thing is, previously it is having a debate for these functions of intercostalis muscles, and it is also having a controversy which muscle is used for inspiratory and which muscle is used for expiratory. Okay, but at that time they have concluded that the external intercostalis have an inspiratory action and internal intercostalis will have an expiratory function. Okay, that too the parasternal muscles is having an effect on inspiration. Okay, so these parasternal muscles of internal intercostalis is also known as inspiratory agonists during quiet breathing. Okay, so this parasternals helps in the rotation of the costochondral junctions. So here we will not getting any movement in the costochondral junction. So the movement is taking place in the chondrosternal junction. So it helps in the rotation of the chondrosternal junction, resulting in the elevation of the ribs and descent of the sternum. It helps in the elevation of the ribs and descent of the sternum. So this is the action of parasternals during inspiration. So again we'll see the action of the parasternals appears to be a rotation of the chondrosternal junction. So the same thing we have seen in pump handle movement. So again you can go through this here. So helps in the rotation of chondrosternal junction, resulting in the elevation of the ribs as well as the descent of the sternum. Elevation of the ribs and descent of the sternum. So elevation of ribs and the descent of the sternum takes place in the upper rib cage only. That to pump handle movement, we can see such kind of action. Okay. So this is the function of parasternal and external intercostal muscles helps in um, uh, helps in inspiration. Okay. Now there are so many discussions and so many debates have done for centuries about this point. Hamburger finally states that the orientations and insertions of the intercostal muscle fiber determine the action of these muscles on ribs. He finally stated that the orientations and insertions of the intercostal muscle fibers determine the action of these muscles on the ribs. So simply you can see this is the contraction. So this is the contraction of external intercostalis muscle. What will happen? So it helps in elevation. If you see this muscles, internal intercostalis, so this will contract in this manner. So this helps in expiration. So like that they have explained in the previous debates. So now some recent studies have made, like EMG and electrical stimulation techniques, show that both interosseous intercostalis have the similar effect on the ribs. So this one is also having some similar effect, but this will have more function in the trunk rotation and flexions. So the main function is done by these parasternals and the external intercostal muscles. Okay. So in these findings, the ribs move cephalad. The ribs moves cephalad more easily at low lung volumes. If the lung volume is low, the upper rib cage will move upward. Okay. Whereas in the high lung volumes, the lower ribs will move caudally. The lower ribs will move caudally because of increased lung volumes. Okay. So again we will see the ribs move cephalad more easily at low lung volumes and caudally more easily at high lung volumes. Okay. So this compliance means the distensibility of a structure or a system. And that means the movement, that means we can call it as motion, is determined by the apparent stabilizing of the upper ribs during inspiration. So how this movement is taking place at the low lung volumes means, so passive tension is higher in the neck muscles. Passive tension is higher in the neck muscles at low lung volumes. Whereas in the lower lips, during expiration, passive tension is greater in abdominal muscles at high lung volumes. హై లంగ్ వాల్యూమ్స్ ఎప్పుడు ఉంటుంది? సో మనం పూర్తిగా గాలి పీల్చేసాం అనుకోండి, సో ద లంగ్ ఈజ్ ఫుల్లీ inflated. So then what happens? So that is called high lung volumes. So once air is more, so which increases the intra-abdominal pressure, isn't it? So automatically during expiration, the passive tension is also greater in the abdominal muscles at high lung volumes. So which is giving pressure to release air from the lungs. That is called during expiration, that tension which are created in the abdominal muscles helps in expiration. Okay, so like that they have considered, they have finalized some of the points after recent studies. Okay, so this is about the intercostalis muscle. There are some other muscles which helps to intercostalis muscles during quiet respiration. Those muscles are as levatorис costorum, which is a paravertebral muscle, and triangularis sterni or transverse thoracis, and also the scalene muscles. So along with intercostalis muscles, these three groups of muscles also helps in respiration. Okay, now we will see one by one. One is the levatorus costorum, and then the transverse thoracis. It is also called as triangularis sterni or sternocostalis. Okay, and also the scalene muscles. These three groups of muscles also helps in quiet respiration. Now we will see one by one in the next videos. Thank you.